Willa Siebert Cather, a well-recognized American author and the winner of the Pulitzer Prize, had once famously said, "Where there is great love, there are always miracles." The thing about miracles is that, like love, they just happen. And when they do, they fill your life with hope and belief. With the inception of faith is born miracles. And so, once upon a time, Mykolai was only 17, the youngest member of a Jewish family that lived in the village of Rodogzha, a few hours' drive from Krakow in Poland. Mykolai had no idea what his family discussed over dinner. They spoke of Nazis and a man named Adolf Hitler. They also spoke of a war that was coming and the place of Jews under the Nazis. It all sounded like some alien talk to him because all Mykolai cared for was Bruno, the little Labrador that his father had gifted him for his birthday 2 years ago. Bruno was Mykolai's first love. He would spend hours with him, playing with him, taking him for long walks, talking with him, and it was endearing to see Bruno listen to all Mykolai had to say to him, as if he understood what Mykolai was saying. It was in September 1939 that Hitler's forces took over Poland. Mykolai's father told the family 3 hours before they were captured by the Nazis that if at all any of them should survive, they should wait for the other family members at the Radogzha square every day for 3 months after the war. After that, they were free to start life again, if at all there was a life after what all was happening. Mykolai found himself being dragged to the truck that had young men in it. He saw his 2 sisters and his mother being taken to another truck, and then he watched his father taken away by foot to an unknown destination with men his age or older. He could not see Bruno anywhere. Had they killed him? He felt his spine rise in a wave of panic. Then, as his truck began its journey, he caught sight of Bruno running towards his truck, attempting to follow him on his journey. The soldiers began to shoot at Bruno. Then he heard a long, painful whine and he knew that they had killed him. Nothing mattered to Mykolai anymore. They could have just as well killed him. The years went by as Mykolai was sent from one camp to another. In the year 1943, 4 years after he and his family were taken, Mykolai met his mother at Auschwitz, the most dreaded of the concentration camps. She told him that she and he were the only surviving members of the family. All the others were dead, including Bruno. The meeting was short and he never met his mother again. 6 months later, he learned that she had been gassed. It was in the camps that Mykolai met a Russian prisoner of war by the name of Pavel. "If you want to survive, you have to work well. If you stop, you're dead." Mykolai thought it was better to stop. He had no reason to live. And stop he did. It was on the morning of 27th of January that the gates of his bunker were thrown open. He knew his time had come. This was the end. When his eyes adjusted to the searing bright sunshine that poured in through the gates, he found the soldiers were wearing a different uniform. It was the Russians. They had come to liberate the camp. After almost 5 years, Mykolai was free, and ironically, he had nowhere to go. When a man has nowhere to go, he seeks something familiar, And so he began his journey towards his village of Rodoksha and got there after a 3-day trek. It was early in the morning and a bit of fog covered the square. Nikolai thought back to what his father had instructed, but he also knew there was no one to wait for. Unless, could it be? There, under the memorial, he was waiting for Bruno. Nikolai felt his heart stop for a while, and he was wondering if he was imagining this. What if this was not Bruno? What if... He had no time to think anymore. Bruno ran to him and hugged him like a lost lover. The two fell to the ground in laughter and tears. Bruno couldn't stop licking him, and Nikolai couldn't stop kissing him. He had grown to be a big, handsome dog, just as Nikolai had imagined on so many lonely nights in the camps. Only at that time, he did not know that Bruno had survived. Bruno had indeed understood what was being said. He had understood the instructions their father had given, and he waited at the memorial. He came to the square every day since they took you and your family, said a young female voice. Nikolai looked up to see a silhouette in the warm winter sun. My name is Ada. I used to live across the street from you. I saw Bruno come here regularly, and I knew you would come back alive because he had the faith that no one else did. Faith that only true love brings with it. Nikolai hugged Bruno once again and began to sob. His friend had given him a reason to live,